V, welcome to Founder Sessions. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Firstly, V, tell us about your background and tell us what you're doing with RT app.
Yeah, sure, of course. So my background is finance and investment management. I've actually done my bachelor's here in Newcastle in Northumbria Business School. Also, I'm a CFI qualified financial analyst, and I used to work for a couple of years in a private investment firm as a junior portfolio manager. But then eventually I kind of got sick of working with wealthy individuals. And because obviously I've been in touch with my friends, other people who's been working, because I've been working in McDonald's, I've been cleaning flats, I've been in all sorts of work in my life. And I was surprised how little access people do actually have to the financial instruments and how complex it may sound to them, especially like throughout my studies. There's a lot of jargon that's been used in the industry, and that's why people kind of think finance is complicated, hard to understand. And that's kind of was the turning point for me to think, okay, V, you need to create a simple solution that people can actually understand and interact with. And that's how a TF was born.
Let's touch on some of them differences. Obviously, your background being the private investment, analytics, that sort of thing. Now you're running your own startup. How is it going from, managing those portfolios with rich, high net worth individuals to running a startup, running a team? What are some of the big differences that you've noticed?
Right. So, I mean, it's easy to say what are not the differences, because literally everything else is different. There's no security whatsoever, obviously. Especially the fintech is very crowded and heavily competitive space, especially here in the UK, as simply you would compete with traditional banks, high retailers, again, new money managers, digital banks, all of them. But yeah, so obviously it's a lot of work, as right now we have a small team of 9 people. They are developers, designers, and again, my background is private investment management and the financial modeling, not IT. So as you see, it's been a lot of things. It's definitely a learning curve. So we've made a lot of mistakes that next time we're definitely not going to do.
And are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying this startup
100%.
life?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's extremely difficult, but I wouldn't do anything else, if I'm being honest.
Because I think I ask this question on every podcast. I ask the founders, like, are you enjoying it? Like, are you really enjoying it? And the answer is always yes, but then it's followed by a but. There's this. It's long hours. It's this. It's this.
Yeah,
But we're a bit weird, aren't we? As founders, we like
100%.
that punishment.
Yeah, it's just the rules of the game. Either you accept it or you do something else. Simple as.
So tell me about RT app.
RT app is an engaging money manager, first of all. So obviously, as you probably know, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different money managers, budget planners, bills organizers. I mean, you name them. They all kind of do this similar thing, but kind of have their own focus. And the problem with all of them is it's a lack of engagement. I don't know if you kind of have experienced that. In my student years, I used to have a Spendy app, which is actually still exists. I think they've been banned in 2014 or something. A brilliant app. But then I stopped using it for like maybe 2 years or so. And again, I'm pretty good with money, and I've been doing it for like, well, all my life as I can remember. But then I stopped, and then I started talking to my friends and say whether they actually use any budget planners. And all the budget planners do, they just kind of present you the information. And then what do you do with it? I mean, yeah, thank you very much. I have it in one place, but what's then? And also after 3 months or 6 months, you're just getting demotivated from what you see there. Most frequently say, oh, I'm going out way too much and what are going to do with it? I mean, yeah, it's bad, but I don't want to know about it. So I'm just going to get out of it. So that's how RTF is different. So we've actually created our own cryptocurrency to reward good spending behavior of our users. So basically what it does is we have a small mini game inside RTF, and it's called farming, where you can actually farm our own listed cryptocurrency called RT coin. So you can actually buy it, sell it, and it actually acts as a rewarding incentive for you to keep going with it. So the way it works is we try to educate people through gaming, and we try to run a parallel between the avatar in our app, that's like your avatar who actually makes you money, and you have 6 working hours out of the day when it actually farms you cryptocurrency. And same like in the real life, you have to buy assets that generate you more revenue. For example, at the beginning, you start at 0.005 RT coin an hour, you buy better clothing, move up then you plan it, you start getting like 0.7, 0.10, and on and on and on. And that's kind of where the game is at. So it's kind of entertaining. There's also a leaderboard, so you can compete with your friends. Obviously, we're still in the very early stage. So there's a lot of things we're going to add and improve on, obviously. But more to that, it's actual app that actually goes with the money management, where you can create the budget. And a lot of people simply don't know how to budget properly or what it is. And for these people, we've actually designed auto budgeting feature. So you simply click on a button, you'll have 3 choices, and it's using the best principles how you should allocate your money. So you simply click on it, it actually divides all your budget in a certain categories, and you'll see whether actually your figures matching up with the best industry standards. If not, that's fine, but at least you're aware. And again, we also have open banking license, so we FCA registered, so you can securely connect your as many bank accounts as you would like for your convenience and simplicity, because we have a same bank level security as your traditional bank, as required by the legislation and regulators.
The different element I'm picking up here with yours is sort of that crypto element, that gaming element. Obviously, you got your personal finance, you know, your wages that comes up, bills coming out, etc., etc. But how can crypto play a part in that personal finance?
I think the most important bit about cryptocurrency is the adoptance rate. Don't quote me on exact numbers, but I think right now, as of like 2020, the adoptance rate of a crypto is around 33 to 36% already. So as you can see, like pretty much every third person here in the UK already adopted crypto in some sort of shape or form, whether it's own personal investment, whether actually it's a payment methods, because obviously every cryptocurrency serves a different purpose. But the whole and the most important bit is you have a full control of the money. And especially all the new era is changing. So for example, with money managers, before it used to be you need to put manual entries yourself. Like maybe it's quick and quicker than in your spreadsheet, but still it's a manual work. And with open banking innovation, and it's kind of would be in early adopters of that innovation as well, is it actually automates everything for you, summarize it, analyze it, and gives back control to the user over their money, so they actually know how they spend this money. So all this control is being taken back from the banks, traditional banks, back to the user, and the cryptocurrency kind of goes a step further, because no one can actually stop you from making the transactions to your friend or to someone in Africa. And I'm not even saying that it's cost efficient, it's time efficient, and all your assets are truly yours. Example with the bank, and personally I've been suffered from it, because I'm actually from Belarus, as you probably know, with the recent views and everything. It's a bad brand for me now. I obviously don't have anything to it, but as soon as a bank hears I'm a Belarusian, they simply not allow me to send money back to my family, like simply because of that, because its intermediary has the power. But with the cryptocurrency, there's no intermediary. I can send as much as I want to whom I want, and the best part, no one actually will even know I've sent this money. So I think that's kind of the best part. And also from the investment perspective, you can make quite a bit of money in terms of actual assets, digital assets, all the metaverse, NFTs. And actually NFTs come into our app, where you can actually build up these avatars in the game right now, and then you can actually sell it on a secondary market. Obviously, we're working on these features as we speak, and it will take some time to implement. But the whole point, you have a digital representation of yourself somewhere there in a metaverse that actually makes you real cryptocurrency that you're going to exchange for fiat money, like sterling, US dollars, or you actually exchange it with some others. Because right now, probably 8 out of 10 things you can already buy with Bitcoin. And it just will take probably 2-3 years to make it 9 out of 10.
It's a very, very cool space, isn't it? Giving freedom sort of back to people, all this Web3 stuff. Can you see banking apps or banks in general entering the crypto space, or at least having crypto elements within their sort of stack? Do you see that happening?
Yes, of course, 100%. It's because more and more countries are working on their own cryptocurrency, national cryptocurrency. I'm not sure how it's going to work, because the whole principle of cryptocurrency being decentralized. While if it's going to be the government, it will be centralized. Therefore, it has all control over emission and on and on and on. So I kind of struggle with that. Regarding the banks, is obviously it's a new technology. It has amazing opportunities for fundraising, for actually giving rewards to direct creators without actually paying the high commission. There's all sorts of opportunities that definitely will not ignore it. However, The thing with the banks, they have to follow a very strict procedures from the actual regulators, and it's not going to be quick. And that's how actually money managers are more agile like us, especially in the early stage, because we're smaller, we can adapt to the technology way quicker. And obviously our funds, we don't have the shareholders meetings, we don't have like a board of directors, all sorts of procedures we need to follow. So in that side, we're just going to be quicker to implement these changes. But yes, it's just a matter of time how soon the banks will be able to catch up.
We talked about the game element, obviously links to the crypto element. So what were the main reasons? You touched on them before, education. Was there any other reasons about adding a game to a money management app? Because outside looking in, that might seem a bit odd. Like, how do those two match up? But how is RT app matching those up?
So the main thing is we've been probably one of the early adopters of that approach, because actually I haven't seen, maybe there is some apps that are already implementing this sort of a system or some sort of gamification in the apps. And I think actually I know a few, but the whole difference is here is that we've taken a complex, well, banking apps, took the most popular game genre, like hyper casual genre games. It's basically where you play very quick casual games, easy to play, and you just move up with new different levels. So we've taken actual game with traditional bank and connected these two things together. And also when these hours are finished, like 6 hours, like on the free plan, you have 6 hours of mining. Actually, I think it's 4 hours now. And on the premium plan, you have 8 hours of mining, right? And when this hours runs out, it's like in a game, you've been given two options. You can watch a free advertising to gain a boost. So it will give you extra hour of mining, obviously. It's your choice. Or alternatively, you can buy this boost with RT coin. So obviously the user makes the decision whether they want to watch the advertising that will be customly related to them specifically. And as a result, users getting more engaged. They're getting all these perks and advantages. But with all of this is the rewarding system that we're trying to put in place. So right now, we're able, like as of today, we're able to offer RT coin as the cryptocurrency that's already listed. You can exchange it, also the free plan. And right now we already in discussion with big brands like Netflix, Spotify, in order to give these bonuses to our users who actually met the financial goals. For example, they want to cut number of expenses on nights out. And when they actually been a number one in the leaderboard, they get something meaningful, like 3 or 6 months of a Netflix. So suddenly you're having the purpose to start planning, budgeting, and you can see the actual outcome of your good spending habits. While with others, you just, well, don't have this fun element, I guess.
I think gamification is such a huge pulling tool as well, just to get users on your app. And it really adds to the user experience because, you know, money management, just saying those two words together doesn't sound cool, does it? You know, it doesn't sound cool together, but when you can bring in elements that you've brought in, it just gives it that little edge that piques a lot of people's interest. And you went through the Innovate UK process as well.
Oh, yes, yes.
And you're successful. How did you find that whole process? Because, you know, they can be long, it can be tedious, but how did you find it?
For us, it was slightly different. Yes, it was hard, the application and everything. But I guess it's because we've actually been a part of the Accelerator Academy in last year. We've actually graduated from the Tech Accelerator based in London. They actually helped us a great boost of our performance, reflection, obviously the product development. And then we start thinking, okay, what else can we get in terms of the grant support? Because obviously when you're in the business, it's hard to see outside of the business because you simply be too hang up in the operations. And especially when you do in the development phase of your product or your service, it's harder to take the step back and have the vision. And with Innovate UK, obviously, it's been a great help in terms of the marketing plan, the vision, the fundraising as well. We had a few really good workshops on the fundraising, how it works, what investors actually looking for, because we've had a lot of conversations with early stage VCs, angels, and you kind of get all conflicting responses from each and every single one of them. One person says you're raising too little, another is raising too much, and another person says, oh, your monthly recurring revenue should be £10,000 a month. But again, they don't care how you're going to get to that stage without the money first. So all sorts of things. And I think that's been a great help of being part of Innovate UK.
Obviously, you spoke about the benefits of that, but you just touched on there, you went through an accelerator program as well.
Yeah.
How was that process?
Oh, that was hard. So we've made, well, I've personally been applying for probably like 2 months in 2020, like November, December, 2 months straight. I've made probably over 20 applications, all of them just been rejections. And then we got into this one. And again, it's been great because it's solely focused on tech founders, or mainly on the tech founders, and especially fintech. It's been a very promising sector to be in. And they kind of breaking down all your processes, like how you should prepare the pitch deck, the old documents, the vision, all these little things that you actually don't think before. So yeah, I mean, it's been incredibly useful. And people and the investors in meet there, of course, like the business founders and obviously the network of like-minded people. I mean, just immeasurable.
It's the network that is normally the biggest takeaway from these programs and things like that. I think what they do very well is, you know, they live up to their name, Accelerator. They accelerate you learning how to pitch, how to put a pitch deck together, how to approach investors, how to do X, Y, and Z. And obviously, it's bearing fruit if you're already talking to, say, early stage VCs and things like that.
Yeah,
it's very cool to see. And you touched on some rejections from VCs, saying you've been too early and all that sort of stuff. Those sting a little bit, but you know, how are you finding those?
I think there's actually a good saying that building a startup is like eating glass. And I think there wouldn't be any better expression to that, because literally building a startup, it's not like in the fancy movies or clips on TikToks and Instagram. It's insane amount of work, amazing number of rejections on every single date, constant self-doubt and things like that. But again, you just have this grind and keep doing, keep pushing. And obviously, if you really believe in the product, in the business you're making, I mean, you're going to get it done. And 50 or 100 rejections, not going to shift it. Yes, you would probably want to shut it down, everything. Well, personally, I probably thought of that maybe 100 times, lost track of it. Because obviously, it's a lot of people saying it's not personal, of course, like, oh, it's just business. Yeah, but when you've been working on it and kind of investing your last money and not paying yourself any wage, and then say, nah, this is complete bullshit. Because actually, if angels are not particularly not an intelligent type, but they're not really choosing the words, obviously, and they wouldn't. Some people say, okay, I just don't think it's good. And quite often we actually heard like, this is shit, the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, like, and like swearing for like nonstop. And again, you have to be polite and say, okay, thank you for your feedback, we'll work on it. And things like that are really testing you. So I think for all founders out there, you just kind of, again, accept the rules of the game. It's just part of the journey. I mean, swallow it and keep going.
Unfortunately, there's some investors, some angels out there that kind of their feedback seems a bit personal. And I think as a founder, it's that resilience. I spoke about it on the podcast that's coming out soon. It is that resilience. It's that skill that you need to learn. It's like not everyone's going to like what you're doing, and you're going to have to take on board their feedback and move on. Because if you linger too much on someone's sort of negative feedback, you're gonna waste hours, aren't you? And you're just gonna get nowhere. So yeah,
exactly.
Building a backbone is definitely a big thing. So what's next for the app? Yeah, we just spoke before. You've just released it on the App Store. But what's tell us about that and tell us what's going to happen
we're
next.
so happy finally now people can actually install the app on iPhones, because it's been a constant hell with all these new things, new changes in the private policy from the App Store. So you can't see any sorts of data flow within the app in terms of, with all these new changes that've been implemented to protect the security of the users in terms of all the data they're sharing, which is great, and we 100% support that. But what they've done is, when the person actually gets into your app, suddenly you're blind, so you don't see what actions they take in the app, how they do it, how long they've been there, what sort of rejections they're getting. And obviously, because it's a SaaS business, you don't see your actually end user and client, how you're going to work with this feedback, because you kind of don't have any. So it's kind of been the hardest part. And finally, now we're actually getting into the marketing sales phase, which is the most important bit. So obviously, it's a lot of content creation, user acquisition, of course, retention, getting the feedback. We've received a lot of feedback regarding the user friendliness, user interface, designs, and we're working on this. And in the next couple of months, we'd be actually doing our first fundraise. So if there's any people or any other founders would like to participate, we'll be more than happy to have a conversation with them. And obviously, with all of this, we'll be finishing the technical issues of the application, because it's not perfect. There's probably not any other software out there. And obviously, it's the cryptocurrency element. So there's quite a few things we still need to implement in terms of infrastructure, making sure you can actually withdraw a T-coin seamlessly. With ease, we need to integrate third plugins like a MetaMask and other cryptocurrency wallets, so you can have a hassle-free experience with this. And obviously, the secondary market that I've been mentioning, so our users can actually trade with one another and kind of have the business being run there. But again, it takes a lot of work with this, and I think that's the new features that will be implemented.
Very exciting. Seems like you're going to be very, very busy, which is always good.
Very, very, yes.
So cool to see. So cool to see. So Vee, what has anything surprised you the most about entrepreneurship? Is there any sort of, let's say, 2 or 3 big things that have surprised you?
Obviously, probably the most common thing that people would not expect who starts in the business, things always go the different way, or not as good as you expected. And this will happen 99% of the time. So you think you're going to release this? No, it doesn't happen. You think you're going to raise the money? No, it doesn't happen. And I think that's kind of thing, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I think that's kind of the best thing. Second is, I was really surprised by the angel conversations that we've had, because obviously European investors and British investors are way different from Americans, because they simply demand more things. They're risk averse, and what we've got out of it, the British investors want to have everything ready for you. For them. So you have a working product with no bugs, no issues. They want to have amazing traction, like of 1,000, 10,000 users, or 10,000 users in your pipeline. They want to see paying clients, paying users, paying licenses, having the IP and everything. All these things that you simply would not get if you'd been bootstrapped. And if you did, amazing, well done. For us, we all been funded by shareholders' capital, as well as corporate and personal debt. And that's kind of how we got through this. But there's, I think, a few people who would be able to tolerate that amount of risk or be comfortable with that level of risk. So it's also something to be aware.
I think risk is a big one, especially in the UK. I think in America, they seem to buy into an idea, whereas here they kind of want something sort of, dug in and built a bit more. I think you said it before, some people won't come in until you earn an X amount of revenue per month.
Yeah.
But sometimes as a startup, you kind of just need that bit of capital to get you to that point. What's been the best advice that you've received, and how has that advice helped you?
Yeah, let me think on that. Obviously, there's a lot of advices you're getting every single day. But it's a thing. There's so many people that keep advising you on things, and they know it better. But they're not in the business. And then obviously one thing is to advise, the second is to do. But for us, I think the most important bit and advice that I got is keep pushing and never stop. Because I think that is probably in the top 3 reasons why founders fail. And have this inner strength, resilience to keep going, because things will go different way. Things will get really tough when you have no money, no funds. You'll get really terrible feedback from investors, from your family, maybe even closest friends. including shareholders. So it's only you and your idea and your business. And a lot of founders, I think, confusing motivation, because quite often I've been asked, you're the most motivated person that I've met. And I'm saying, no, I'm not motivated. My motivation has been gone like 2 years ago when everything started. It's just the discipline and routine admin tasks that I absolutely hate doing, but I don't know, no one else will do it and I just have to. So I think it just this resilience and the discipline.
I think motivated is sometimes you know, you can't be motivated 24/7. It's like I'm not motivated, I'm just going through the process. I know what I want to achieve, but I have to go through all this process together. I like the point that you just made there about, lots of people give you advice. Everyone's got advice, but they don't, it's the action on the back. Sometimes they have the advice, but they've got no action. There's a lot of people like that. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I gravitate towards people that are giving me advice, but have the sort of the action, the thing that they've done. It's actually real, it's tangible. You gravitate towards them instead of someone they've give some advice and they're sort of just saying it, but they've got no real action behind them. It's a funny world. And I think startup founders, especially when starting out, they listen to everyone's advice, and it kind of can plague them a bit because there's so many advice coming in.
Yeah, you get a lot of noise, and that's the thing with social media noise, with advisors noise, mentors noise, you get your business partners. So I think the hardest bit, especially with the startup, and the reason it's called startup, is have a laser focus, and that's the hardest bit. I mean, for us, our product that it looks today, it's been nothing like when we started. At the beginning, we started as a banknotes detector. We should help people to kind of help navigate through different currencies where they've been abroad in Thailand. They have some currency, you can work with it. And then we thought, oh, it's not going to help. The model not going to work. We've got some feedback from early VCs already, like 2 years ago. And said, okay, we need to readjust things, do it differently. Then we said, okay, we're going to do the money manager, but how we're going to get open banking license? I mean, it's like you have to be sort of a bank in order to do that, and we have no money. And how are you going to get that? But then we started doing the manual entry, say there's no future in it. So we found the money through that, and that's kind of how we go to the next stage. So yeah, it just kind of always, survive and adapt. I would say probably the best part, adapting to the new changes and keep surviving, keep pushing.
Perfectly put about the lot of noise, and being laser focused is, it's much needed, but sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to be laser focused because, as I found out, a lot of people want to talk to you, and then some days no one wants to talk to you. so it's a good journey. But Vee, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Please tell the people that are watching and listening where they can connect with you and what they should check out.
Thanks a lot, Carl, for having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yep, people can actually find me on LinkedIn as Vee/Venski, actually hyphen. And obviously, I'm happy to chat with all like-minded people who actually want to talk about money management, finance. I'm more than happy to actually give some sort of a guidance if it's in my power, perhaps connect you with someone who may be able to assist you. We already are working on educational content for TikTok and YouTube, as well as writing short articles that are going to help people. So that would be great. Obviously, you can get in touch with me directly on RT app by support. I would be there. So simply write in the subject line CEO. So I'll be there to reply to your most wanted questions. And yeah, feel free to try the app on Play Market or App Store.
Yeah. Download now should be the tagline at the end of this. But Vee, this has been Founder Sessions. Like I said, pleasure to be talking to you today. And yeah, thank you.